Hey, what's going on? This is Beer Today, Beer Tomorrow. Pete, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. I'm sitting here in my underwear at home.
Perfect. And it's Pete and Pete repping for the BTBT crew today. We are back with another special World Cup Beer Share show. Today, we'll be talking about the 2018 FIFA World Cup, and we will be doing our own round of 8 beer matchup, where beers from selected countries that participated in this year's World Cup will go head-to-head, and we will rate them on the following criteria: aroma, appearance, flavor, mouthfeel, and overall impression. Each category is worth 5 points. We will average our scores, which will basically add up to a combined total of 50. The winning beer will move on to the round of 4, which will be conducted at the next show. We are using the official BJCP beer score sheet, but altering the point system just a tad bit. It should be good times, and now here's the beer bracket breakdown. On the one half of the bracket, we got Carlsberg Pilsner from Denmark versus Karlovačka Pilsner from Croatia. We got Grimbergen Double Ambre from France versus Leffe, Belgian Blonde Ale. On the other side, we got a Baltica Brew Russian Imperial Stout versus Old Speckled Hen English Fine Ale. And Estrella Damm from Spain versus Sagre Cerveja of Portugal. Now, before we get into the first beers, a little quick roundup of what's going on in the World Cup right now. You know, a total of 64 matches will be played in 12 venues located in 11 cities in Russia. The final will take place on the 15th of July at the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow. The World Cup has shown us that the gaps between teams that used to exist are no longer there. If the 2018 World Cup was a screenplay, Pete, you probably wouldn't believe it. You would say, I don't believe this shit.
No, it's been crazy. I mean, I don't even really watch a lot of soccer, but some of the games that I watched were just unbelievable. Some literally unbelievable shit that came about.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And, I mean, the defending champions, Germany, my pick to win it this year, along with many others' pick around the world, went out in the group stage, which was a shocker. Argentina, despite boatloads of talent, were awful, and they exited in the round of 16 in a thrilling game versus France.
They were lucky to even make it.
They were. They were lucky to squeeze in there from the group stage. Poland, a top-ranked team, were eliminated in the group stage as well. They were pretty bad. How about Russia defeating Spain? Maybe Putin had a hand in that?
I think it's fixed. Come on, just like our election for president.
It could be. How about Belgium going down 2 goals to Japan and then coming back to literally win it in the dying minutes of stoppage time in arguably the best game of the tournament so far? That was a hell of a game.
Yeah, that was great.
Very exciting stuff. Both Ronaldo and Messi missed penalty kicks. I mean, how often do you see that?
That's what I'm saying. After that first game, when he blew that penalty kick, I was like, they have no shot at making it. And I think they kind of backed their way in. But, whatever. They made it. They deserved it, I guess. But they also deserve to get knocked out the way they did.
I would agree with that. And there's been 19 stoppage time goals thus far in the tournament, which is a lot of exciting late in the game action. And for the first time in the history of the World Cup, 3 games in the round of 16 have gone to penalties. So talk about drama, excitement of the highest order. I mean, wow. And just, the current FIFA World Rankings, which are a bit suspect, they're kind of bullshit. But the current FIFA World Rankings, the top 10 includes Germany, Brazil, Belgium, Portugal, Argentina, Switzerland, France, Poland, Chile, who didn't even qualify.
Wow.
And Spain. In that order. 7 of those teams are gone already. Only Brazil, Belgium, and France remain. So a lot of surprises, a lot of excitement going on.
Yeah, this could be up for grabs. I mean, I still think one of the top teams will come out on top, but it looks like, somebody else could surprise us and make it pretty deep.
I mean, it's interesting because, and we'll get into that a little bit more with what's coming up, but certainly you look at one side of the bracket, you got to be thinking Brazil, and then the other side is wide open. And we'll certainly be getting into that a bit more, but I think we got our own World Cup beer bracket going on here. So what are we starting with here, Pete?
All right, so I think since Croatia had such a fine showing in the group stage, I figured, why the hell not, right?
Let's start with them. Yeah, Croatia won every game in the group. Thought they were going to steamroll Denmark, and they didn't. It was a tough game. It went to penalties. Croatia didn't look so good. I was kind of surprised by the lack of the quality performance. But here we are. Let's see how they do in the beer world now.
All right, so we have Karlovačka from Croatia.
Karlovačka from Croatia. And again, we'll be judging these beers on aroma, appearance, flavor, mouthfeel, and overall impression. And it kind of smells like weed.
It does. It does. Very,
as soon
very
as you open
hoppy.
it, yeah.
Very hoppy. Very. That's a little. Let's get a little indica in there. A little hybrid, maybe.
Yeah, I mean it's an extremely hoppy beer, at least on the aroma.
What do you think? What do you give that out of 5?
I would give this a 3.9.
3.9. All right, round of applause. Woo! Okay. I'm a big fan of the smell. I think I'm gonna go a little higher than you. I'm thinking about 4.1 on this one. For the style of beer, I'm very intrigued by that aroma. I wasn't expecting that.
I was not expecting that either. For the appearance, it's got a nice color. It's got a little bit of a deeper color. It's in the Pilsner spectrum, but it's a little bit deeper than your typical Pilsner. I think there's a nice amount of lacing. That was poured when you poured it, so that's a promising sign as well. I mean, I like this color. It, like I said, it is what you would expect of a typical Pilsner, slightly on the darker side, I believe. I would say color. I would give it a 4.
Yeah, it's got a little urine-y look to it. Sorry to get nasty with that, but I'm gonna go a little lower than that. I'm going to go with a 3.6.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, you said 4.
4.0.
4.0. Okay. All right.
Let's give this bad boy a taste. It's a little dry at the end.
Yeah.
It's not quite as crisp and refreshing is what I like out of my Pilsners.
Yeah, I would expect something more.
Something with a little bit more bite.
But I think that, getting the hoppiness aroma, I think has something to do with that.
It could. It could. I think some of the hops definitely made this a little bit of a drier Pilsner, at least in my opinion. Again, I do prefer a little bit more of a brighter Pilsner, something with a little bit more snap to it on the palate.
Super carbonated.
Yeah.
Right off the tongue immediately.
Yeah, it's quite carbonated, yes. It's not a bad Pilsner, but it's certainly not one of my preferred Pilsners that I've had. I've had many Pilsners, so.
So I guess you don't expect this one to go far in the round 8.
That depends on who it's going up against. I would give this on a flavor, I would give this a 3.5.
Okay. I'm actually going with the same thing as you. I'm feeling that as well. Not a bad beer, like you said, though. It's still, good if someone handed this to me at a bar and it wasn't a craft beer bar. I would definitely drink it.
It's not a bad Pilsner. It's
No.
just, again, I feel like German and Czech style Pilsners, the ones that I've had have this beat. Would I drink it again, like you said? Yeah, I would. But if there were other Pilsners available, this would not be my go-to.
Right. I'm not upset by this, though. I'm a fan.
I'm not mad at it.
All right. And so the mouthfeel, I think the carbonating description that I gave before kind of has something to do with it. I had to go back for another sip.
Yeah, it's definitely carbonated. You feel it on the tongue.
Right away.
You definitely feel it on the tip of the tongue.
Drier than I would like.
It's a bit drier than I would like. It's an unremarkable Pilsner. I mean, it's not bad. I would drink it again, but I don't think this is, I don't think that Croatia's looking so good right now.
No, not at all. So I'm going to go with a 3.2 on this guy.
For mouthfeel?
Yeah.
I'll give it a 3.3.
All right. And overall, what do you give this sucker?
Overall, again, it's drier than what I'd like from a Pilsner. Which to me, especially in hot weather, automatically makes it not sessionable.
Right.
This isn't like, when I think a hot day, I want to grab a nice, crisp, cool, refreshing Pilsner. Mm-hmm. This would not be my go-to. Overall, I would say I would give it about a 3.5.
So, it had a good start, I think, with the
Nice
aroma.
smell, yeah.
kind of got my hopes up, thinking I was going to be drinking something a lot better. No offense, Croatia, but not your best work. I'm going with a 3.3 overall at the moment. So, as I tally this up,
you want to crunch those numbers? I can talk a little bit about Uruguay, France, which is the next game up in the World Cup, or at least that's one of the games up in the World Cup for the round of 8. And Pete, I'm going to be asking what you think the final score is going to be and who your pick is. But so Uruguay has won 2 World Cups, including the first ever World Cup in 1930 as hosts. They beat Argentina 4-2 in the final. They won their second title in 1950, upsetting host Brazil 2-1 in that final match. They came into the 2018 World Cup ranked 14th, and they've played pretty well in the tournament thus far. They're the only team to have beaten Russia at this point, and that was in the group stage. The striking duo of Edison Cavani from PSG and Suarez of Barcelona it's a deadly dynamic duo. I love that they play those two guys up front. Those guys have a synergy. They have a connection. They work well together. It's a tactically strong team from top to bottom. Unfortunately, Cavani was hurt in the Portugal game. He missed the recent practice. So if Uruguay is going to pull the victory off, I truly believe they need him and Suarez at 100%, and his status right now is in doubt. Now, on the French side, the French team won its first and only World Cup in 1998. The tournament was played on their home soil, and they destroyed Brazil 3-0 in the final there. Great French team with some tremendous players at that point in time. France currently ranked 7th in the world. They were one of the favorites coming in, and I think they found a good stride at this point. They have a lot of fantastic players. They got Pogba from Man U, the superstar 19-year-old Mbappe from PSG, who equaled Pelé's record of scoring 2 goals in a game as a teenager. It's just crazy. Wow. 19-year-old just doing it up like that. Of course, you got Griezmann from Atletico Madrid. You got Giroud from Chelsea. N'Golo Kante also from Chelsea, and one of the greatest defensive midfielders in the world, in my opinion. Honestly, as a neutral, I hope Cavani plays. I hope he's healthy for Uruguay. I'd like to see both teams at full strength, but my pick is I'm going with France 3-1, and I expect Mbappe to score a few more goals. Pete, what do you think about the Uruguay-France?
So I haven't seen a lot of France so far this World Cup. I have seen Uruguay. I liked what I've seen from Uruguay. Suarez looks like a possessed man at the moment. He's looking like he's trying to carry this team on his back. But obviously, he's a little banged up. So, I mean, if he's not able to play, obviously that's going to change.
Cavani's banged up.
Oh, I thought you mentioned Suarez as well before. But no, because I saw he did something to his leg also the last game I had watched, so that's why I figured he was still a little.
Yeah, Cavani hurt himself against Portugal. I'm not sure if it was the calf injury or not, but yeah, he had to be helped off the field actually by Ronaldo. They substituted him out. He missed his latest practice.
That's right. He kind of helped him walk off the field.
Yeah, and he's a top player. And interestingly enough, he plays for PSG, and so does Neymar. And I'm sure as a Mexican fan, you probably don't like Neymar right now.
No, not after that bullshit from yesterday.
And neither does Cavani. He does not like Neymar either. They've had a lot of run-ins at
really?
PSG. Yeah, they both play for PSG, but they don't like each other. And I think there's an interesting dynamic right now. I wonder if that's in Neymar's head, because everyone's saying, okay, there's Messi, there's Ronaldo. Now Neymar is the man, but it's time to perform. And Neymar has picked it up. He's been better since the first game. He's played very well. He's obviously a great player. But now Mbappe's there. Mbappe's younger. I mean, Neymar's a young guy, don't get me wrong, but Mbappe's a teenager, and he's looking really good. So, are we switching from Neymar is the present to Mbappe is the future, or, is Mbappe the future? And I wonder if that weighs on him psychologically, as we go forward. Interesting things to think about.
If he does get replaced, he has a great career in acting coming up soon.
Yeah,
Yesterday.
I have problems with that. I don't like when players do that. And I mean, this guy, all right, yes, the Mexican guy stepped on him with the studs. The player shouldn't have done that. That was uncalled for. But I mean, he starts rolling around like he's trying to go for.
It looked like he just took a freaking shotgun shell to the leg.
Yeah, it was like a Broadway production.
We talked about this the other day. I mean, I get it. It's it's a high contact sport, and there's going to be a lot of injuries, right? And you take some hits, and you go down, it hurts like a motherfucker. But come on, you're telling me in other sports stuff like that doesn't happen? And what would you do if LeBron James got fouled for a layup and then started rolling around on the ground for 5 minutes holding his arm, and then pops back up like nothing happened.
Well, it's funny that the coach of Mexico actually brought that up, and he was pissed. He blamed the refs because they let it happen. I think I disagree with that. I know you don't want to hear this, Pete. I just think Brazil was better. They beat Mexico. I don't think it had anything to do with Neymar's acting. I don't like Neymar's acting. I think it's BS. I think
it wasted a lot of time. Wasted a lot of time, and I mean, yes, they were only down 1-0 at the time, and they were attacking pretty steadily throughout the game. Not going to say that they would have broken one through, but you never know. They were getting close. Brazil was covering up at the end and blocking every shot coming through. So they didn't really have many shots on goal. Probably one, I believe, out of 9 or 10.
Something like that.
But still, that killed a lot of time off the clock. That could have given them an opportunity to possibly tie it. Make it a little bit more dramatic. And then obviously Brazil comes and scores the last goal with a couple minutes left. So either way, I'm glad Mexico made it to the round of 16. Unfortunately they played Brazil, which was rough. But all in all, like it was a solid game for me to watch. Considering Mexico really, I don't know. To me, they look good this year. They knocked off Germany, game 1, which I know you loved.
Yeah.
But sure. You also said Germany really wasn't themselves from the beginning.
Germany was the worst Germany I've seen in a long time. I heard that their coach, their manager, is staying on, but I don't know what was wrong with them. I mean, Mexico really tore them apart, mostly on the counter. But I'll say this with Mexico: what they're going to beat themselves up about is not losing to Brazil. It's losing to Sweden, because had they beat Sweden, they would have been on the other side of the bracket, and then who knows? Because quote unquote, there's a weaker side.
Yeah.
Which I don't know at this World Cup. I don't agree if there's a weaker side or not, but certainly they wouldn't have played Brazil.
Right.
So you never know.
But Sweden kicked the crap out of them.
They did, and we'll get into a little bit more about Sweden, but I think we're ready now for...
Sorry, I never gave you my score of the Uruguay-France game.
Oh, yeah. Who do you think's going to win, and what do you think the score?
So I was talking about them earlier. I just really like the way they look, and I think that Suarez is a little possessed at the moment, and I think he's going to do whatever he can to move on, and I think Uruguay is going to win 2-1.
Really? Mm-hmm. You think okay? Interesting. So I have 2-1 for France. You have
3-1 France.
I have 3-1 France, and you have 2-1 Uruguay. Very interesting. We'll talk about that at the next show and see how that breaks out. What do I know? I picked Germany.
Yeah, this is true.
And then I also picked Spain to go to the final.
Wow. So breaking news: he doesn't know shit about soccer. All right. So moving on.
Let's move on
to the competition. Croatia's competition is Carlsberg from Denmark.
Yep, and this is our own BTBT World Cup beer bracket, and we rated Croatia. We'll give you all the results at the end of the day. Now we are going against Croatia's competition, as Pete said, which is Denmark, Carlsberg. So let's take a look at this. Let's start with the aroma. Not much on the aroma. Gotta be honest.
It's lacking. I feel like I'm smelling a glass of water. I mean, no, it's a little too dramatic. You got a little bit of, more of a alcohol aroma in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. Honestly, the smell isn't promising. It smells like a watered down beer. To be honest with you, I am full disclaimer. I am a bit congested at the moment, which sucks, but. It's not. There's not much smell going on there.
Really
I
nothing
think,
at all.
Honestly, as far as smell, if we're comparing categories, Croatia demolished it
by far. I mean,
you get that faint, classic, typical Pilsner smell, but it's so faint. I mean, you barely get much, right?
I mean, I never want to give anybody a 0 in any category, but I mean, we're talking. To me, I'm going with a 2 on this. It's very, very underwhelming.
I'll go 2.5. I'll go 2.5 on this. Let's look at. I mean, the appearance.
Very similar.
It's a very similar appearance. It's again in the Pilsner spectrum. It's slightly lighter. There's less lacing, which on this beer, so there's less lacing around the edges here. The color is more in line. It's like a straw golden style color here that we're looking at. I mean, I almost wonder if this beer we're drinking right now might be a little on the older side because of the lack of the smell and all that stuff.
Could be.
That's going on. So that to me is a certain possibility. It's, again, I mean, it's typical Pilsner, the color. It's nothing too crazy. Like I said, like a golden, a lighter color, lighter hue to it. Maybe gold is too pronounced. What kind of color would you say this is? Yellowish, kind of. Yellowish straw.
That's what I was gonna say. A little bit more of a lighter yellow. Not like a Brazil yellow.
No.
But I mean, it's very similar. I like this color a little bit better than I like Croatia's.
Yeah, I do too.
Or Karlovaca.
Karlovaca.
I'm gonna go with 3.7 on the color because I like it slightly better, so I gave the other one a 3.6. You're getting a 3.7, buddy. How about you?
I think I gave the other one a 4, which might have been a little high. I do like this color a little better, so I'll give this a 4.1.
4.1. All right. Give some clout in this because that first score really set him back.
Yeah, it did.
So let's hope that
let's give this a try.
Let's see how this tastes. Not bad.
It's not bad at all. It's nicely chilled. It's light. It's easy drinking. Again, I go back to the hot day analogy.
Yeah.
I would rather drink this than the Croatian beer, to be honest, on a hot day.
Yeah, definitely. Especially the way it's been in Queens lately, pushing high 90s and 100. This would be something I would actually like to sit on my stoop wearing my wife beater and drinking this.
Absolutely. Very sessionable. Drink it cold.
Definitely.
It's got a nice snap to it, but I don't think that there's a whole lot going on in the flavor spectrum.
No.
It's very sessionable. I think that the Croatian beer had more going on from a flavor perspective, but was less sessionable.
Right.
So I guess, what would I give this?
Going higher or lower?
It's a different kind of beer.
Yeah.
You know what? I might just, I think it's a 3.4 for me.
3.4. 3.4 for you. Okay. Similar. Not loving it. Not much going on in there. Not a lot of party in my mouth.
Right.
I'm going 3.3 on that.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, Denmark's not going anywhere.
And again, disclaimer for our fans listening. Listen, we are big proponents of craft beer. We're all about craft beer. But we wanted to do a World Cup show, so we got the beer from different countries that we could get within the timing. So, some of these beers that we're going to be trying today, might not necessarily be craft beer, but it's all in the spirit of good fun. And Denmark is sucking it up right now.
Yeah, they're really poor showing. Mouthfeel, I really don't have a lot going on in there. Like I said, the other was very carbonated. This, like you said, this, it could be that it's an old beer. I mean, even though these could hang a lot longer than...
They could hang a lot longer, but I just get the feeling that maybe it's a little bit of an older beer. I feel, it should be a little bit crisper. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, even if the flavor is not fully there. So are we going to move on to mouthfeel?
Yeah.
So,
I'm getting a little pucker at the end.
Little bit of a pucker, yeah. Again, there's not a whole lot going on here as far as flavor. It's not as carbonated as the previous. I like that it's nice and cold. So like the initial perception on my tongue that I get is that this is pleasant. Like, but again, everything that about this beer speaks to like drinking it in high volume.
Yeah.
It's probably a lower ABV beer. It's probably a beer meant to be sessioned. It's probably a beer you can drink often in a sitting, and it's a beer that's good for a hot day. But again, if I compare it to its counterparts that I've had from Germany, from the Czech Republic, it doesn't necessarily hold up. It's not bad. I would drink it again, but it is not nothing too spectacular here.
No, you're not going to write home about this. Same thing. If someone handed this to me at a party, I'm not going to pour it down the sink like I would with some beers.
I mean, I'd rather drink this than a Bud or a Coors Light or
Definitely.
Or a Natty Ice or something like that.
No. I'd rather drink my own urine than drink Natty Ice.
There you go. I would drink this over a Tecate.
No carácter.
No carácter there. But there's a lot of better options than this.
Definitely. So, mouthfeel, what do you say? Yeah.
Again, even though I thought the Carlavaca was a little bit more carbonated, I think that that showed a little bit more character to me.
Definitely more carácter.
More carácter. I'll give this mouthfeel a 3-1.
All right, mouthfeel's a 3-1, and I'm feeling the same. I'm going with a 3 flat, and then for overall, really not really impressed.
No, Denmark, step your game up.
I'm going with 2.8 overall.
I'll give it a 2.9, just because it's a Pilsner and it for me, I guess from a psychological standpoint, maybe it tasted more.
You used to drinking.
It tasted more what I think of when I think of a Pilsner, but it wasn't a very good example of a Pilsner.
Right.
So are we ready to move on to the next?
So do you we want to go grade them now? I have numbers here. We can grade them now. Or you want to go all the way to the end and then we grade them?
All the way to the end and then we grade them. I think we should bust out the next beers. And I mean, what do you think? You good with that?
Yeah.
And I could talk really quick about Brazil, Belgium, and then get your feedback on what you think as far as the next game in the actual World Cup is going to go down.
F Neymar. That's what I fucking think.
All right. So Brazil is the most successful national team in the FIFA World Cup history. They've been crowned winner 5 separate times in 58, 62, 70, 94, and 2002. Brazil also has the best overall record in the Cup with 70 victories and 104 matches played and only 17 losses. But I have to... I went high pitched there. But I have to bring up one of their most historic losses. Probably the most historic loss in World Cup history was their 7-1 annihilation at the hands of Germany, which will never be forgotten for as long as any Brazil fan lives.
We'll never forget.
We will never forget. But for the 2018 World Cup, bit of a slow start for Brazil. They opened up the first game with a draw in the group stage, but they are starting to find their groove. They're starting to find their stride, and I think that means dangerous things for their competition. I think that Brazil is finally living up to the status of one of the true favorites of this competition, and I think whoever plays them really needs to watch out. I think Brazil could go all the way.
Really?
I really, really do. And they're playing Belgium, and Belgium was one of my dark horse picks. I really like Belgium, to be honest. Belgium's best finish ever was only a 4th place placing in 1986. But this is the so-called golden age of Belgium football. They have so many stars. They got Eden Hazard of Chelsea. He's world-class. Hazard. They have the former Chelsea man and current Man City star Kevin De Bruyne. They have the former Chelsea and former Everton striker, now Man U lead man Romelu Lukaku. He's got 4 goals in the tournament so far. And he had that beautiful dummy versus Japan. That was a hell of a game, as we already kind of mentioned. They also have Courtois, Pete. Courtois! Another Chelsea man, easily top 5 goalkeeper in the world, maybe even higher. And I could go on and on. There's a lot of talent on that roster. There's a lot of power on that team. I'm pulling for them. I want them to beat Brazil. I really do. I like the way they play. I felt that was a gut check against Japan. I was texting my dad that game. I'm like, listen, if Belgium lose this game, they need to fire their manager. They need to fire him because they should not be doing that to Japan. But props to Japan. They came out to play. Russia really defended. Japan was like, we're going to do us. And it gave them those 2 goals early, but it also hurt them in the end. And you know what? Like all good teams do, they found a way to win. They won in stoppage time versus Japan. I really, really like Belgium, but unfortunately, I think they will lose to Brazil. I think it's going to be 2-1. I think Brazil is going to beat them and move on. in my opinion, to face France. Now, Pete, what do you think about Brazil versus Belgium?
All right, so honestly, going into the round of 16, Belgium was one of my teams that I was picking to go all the way. Other one being England. I just feel like they have a lot of firepower. They're just, from what I've seen, a good all-around team. So I'm going to go out there just a little bit, and I'm going Belgium 1-1 and 3-2 on penalty kicks.
Really? I hope you're right. That's a big, bold prediction. We'll see next show how that breaks out.
We're keeping track of all of this, and at the end, whoever wins, they get nothing. So moving on.
No. I think whoever has the most picks should have to. Whoever loses.
All right, I got it.
You got it?
Ready?
Yeah.
Loser pays for all the beers that we're drinking
No,
now.
How about this? Loser buys the next 4-pack.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of 4-pack are we talking about?
Talking about a good 4-pack. Yeah.
All right. So
None of this Euro trash shit. All right. So speaking of Belgium, there you go. So Pete, what are we drinking right now?
Leffe.
Leffe.
It's a blonde Abbey Ale.
Yeah.
We're stepping it up. We're staying on the same side of the bracket. We got a nice little mix going on. So this may be unfair for the next round.
Yeah. Just a bit.
But we didn't stage this at all.
No.
So anyway, yeah. So let's go ahead and give her a smell.
This is a Belgian blonde ale. I mean, the Belgian ales, they have there's spices going on.
I feel like
here.
I'm smelling something roasty.
Yeah. There's definitely roasty.
There's
notes.
something cooking in here. Something nice, something beautiful.
There's spices, maybe a little bit of cardamom. It's very nice. It smells like an inviting aroma.
If I like church, I would like to go to church and smell this when I walked in.
Yeah, I mean, there's almost a slight hint of like clove.
I get a little incense. I don't know what type.
A little bit of clove, maybe
Yeah.
sort of like a pinch of pepperiness, not overwhelming, but just subtly, It smells very. I mean, I'm going to give this on the aroma. I'm going to give this a 4-4.
4-4. Good start, Belgium.
Has Ed?
Yeah. Courtois. So
Shout out to Chelsea.
yeah, man, I'm really liking this a lot. Definitely destroying everybody else at the moment. I'm going with a 4.5
Nice.
for the aroma. Now for the appearance, definitely a little bit darker.
It's a little
Not much.
It's a little dark, but not much. It's not. I mean, as far when you think of Belgian beers, and again, if we're going to compare this to other Belgian beers, I mean, I know we're supposed to do the standalone, but the color isn't all that crazy, and there's nice lacing again on the pour. Again, it's kind of like this is a little bit more golden, I would say. A little bit of golden color going on there. Nothing too crazy about the pour, but again, it's a blonde ale. Mm-hmm. I think it pours the way it should. I think
She
it
don't
looks
look like
the
no
way
blonde.
it should. She don't look.
She's a little brunette, but it's all right.
I mean, I'll give this a 4.
Yeah,
I'll give it a 4 for appearance.
I'm close. I'm going 3.9 on the appearance, but honestly, can we just taste this already?
Oh yeah.
That was like torture waiting to get that in my mouth. Hey,
She said. The flavor. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
There's
Belgium.
a lot going on there.
It's Belgium. I mean, there's floral notes. There's spices. I mean, there's some. I mean, it's when you think Belgium. I mean, there's a lot going on in their brews. It's very tasty. It's very inviting. It's definitely, you could tell when you're drinking a Belgian beer right away, just how they brew it, their approach to brewing, their methodology. It's all represented here in this cup.
Yeah.
I really like Belgian beer, and I do enjoy a Leffe. I don't think Leffe is the best Belgian beer that I've had, but I do think it's a very good beer.
I wanted to go with, there was so many options. There was Duval, there was Chimay, Delirium Tremens. There was a lot of different things I could have went with.
All great options.
Yeah, but I figured I wanted to kind of stay somewhere in the middle, something that wasn't going to be too dominant in the field, but still put up a good fight. And this guy is doing pretty damn well at the moment. So same deal. I mean, there's a lot going on in this glass. It's great taste. Like you said, you got a lot of floral. You got the spices really come out at the end, give me a little bite in the tongue.
Yeah,
last second
on the way down too. It really kind of resonates.
Yes. Speaking of resonating, so what do you think
As far
overall
flavor?
On that flavor, yeah.
I
know it's going to be. Go ahead.
I would give this a 4.3 on flavor.
4.3. I knew it was going to be in the 4s. So far Belgium is dominating on his side. I'm feeling the same. Just needed another sip before I gave you my score. I'm really loving this. I'm going 4.5.
It's a very good beer.
Yeah, this is great.
I'm not mad at 4.5.
Okay. Mouthfeel?
Mouthfeel.
There's a lot going on the second it hits your tongue.
Yeah, it's got some carbonation. Like you said, the palate sensations. I mean, there's a lot going on. It kind of tantalizes the palate, like from the tip of the tongue. And what you notice on this beer compared to the other beers, some of the other beers hit you at the tip of the tongue and it kind of stops. This kind of goes all the way, from the tip of the tongue to the back of the tongue to down when you're swallowing it.
Like when you're eating a good seasoned dish, there's different flavors that are hitting you at certain times, and it finishes a certain way. And this is very potent in the front. You get all the different flavors on the tongue, and then it kind of just relaxes you away at the end. It smooths out, and it's a sexy beer.
A good Belgian beer is all about that experience, and this is a wonderful experience. I almost think that we would have benefited if this was a couple of degrees warmer. The flavor would have popped even more.
Yeah.
It's not that it's freezing or anything like that, but a couple of degrees warmer would have popped even more. But the mouthfeel, it's very satisfying.
Hey, there's 5 more of these, so I could just,
yeah. It's a satisfying beer.
It is very good. Going back to the summer theme. Not going to be the crisp, refreshing drink you have at the beach, but I wouldn't mind. I would be okay with drinking something like this outside on a nice warm day.
On a nice warm day, I would drink I would definitely drink. I mean, someone had this, I would drink it in any scenario, any situation. I wouldn't session these. I wouldn't drink a lot of these.
No.
I would definitely have one and savor it.
We wouldn't last too long sessioning because this is a 6.6.
Right.
Pretty sure the first 2 we had were all
Right.
mid 4s.
And I got to be honest, because of the way the Belgians brew and the style that they brew and how they do it with the spices and everything, they feel a little heavier.
Yeah.
It feels like this is almost on par with like an IPA.
Towards the back end, that's what I'm getting that kick in the back of the throat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But very enjoyable. So
Mouthfeel?
Mouthfeel, I think it's a 4.3 for me.
And I'm going to actually go with the same. To me, the flavor overall was beautiful. The mouthfeel is nice as well. Obviously, we've drank a lot of beers in our time, and I think there's been some things that have touched my lips that have been more impressive overall at the end of the day.
Sure.
But still a solid beer overall. And speaking of overall, what do you think as an overall score for this bad boy?
I think overall it's a 4.3 again.
4.3 overall.
For me, I think this is a beer I will drink, like I said, in any season, any condition, any situation. I'll drink this beer. It's not a beer you'd session, but great beers don't necessarily have to be beer you session. I really enjoy this, and that's my score.
Okay. Overall, I'm going 4.2, so very close to you. I mean, listen, from the beginning, I think everybody can tell or even knew if you've had this beer before, this is going to score well.
Absolutely.
It definitely held up. Obviously, best we've had so far.
Yes.
Hands down.
down.
And I honestly, after that, I mean, going with my prediction earlier that I told you, where I feel Belgium is going to go far in the tournament, I feel this beer is going to go very far in this tournament.
Yes, and I'll caveat that by saying that we're going to have to rate the beers once different styles go against different styles. We have to keep that in consideration. We'll talk more about that when we get to the next episode. But we have to, certain styles do certain things, So let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to France.
Toronto spicy crab legs.
Grimbergen, the double Ambry. I'm probably butchering that. It's another
Completely
6.5%. What can we say about this? Not much. The description's in French, but I am excited to try this. And let's give this a whirl, Pete. Let's crack this one open.
Oh yeah, we got this. So we kind of are trying to keep similar styles together to make it somewhat fair. So this
is not too similar, but based on everything that we got, it wouldn't be fair to match either of these beers to like a Pilsner or something, because these beers were kind of most in line based on what we got.
Just flavor-wise, we knew that the others wouldn't stand the chance going up against something like this. So maybe not style-wise was it the same, but I think just with the flavors that we're about to get, they have a better shot against each other than they would against anybody else at the moment.
So let's give this a whiff. Cheers.
I feel like I got some dark chocolate in the back.
Yeah, I feel like a little bit like the dark chocolate that has like fruits in it, almost maybe like one of those dark chocolates with like raisin in it or something,
Right, with a little sweetness in the back.
A little bit of sweetness, a little bit of lighter side dark chocolate to this one. I like the aroma.
Yeah.
I do. I would say aroma perspective, I'd give it probably a 4-1.
Okay. So another one that's starting off.
You know what's weird? I get like a hint of brie, of like brie cheese.
Really?
Like, I don't know what it is, but I get like a slight hint of that.
I'm getting the sweetness that you were talking about. I'm getting that. The little maybe because you're saying it, you're kind of skewing my mind, but I guess maybe it's also bringing it out to me a little bit more. Also, me being a smoker, kind of hurts my taste buds, and I think just all your senses all around, because obviously smoking is bad. Quit now. 1-800 hotline. No, I'm joking. So obviously, like I can't differentiate it as well as you can in the beginning. It takes me a little while, but I mean, there's definitely a lot going on here. Similar to Belgium on my left. I'm about the same as you. I'm going 4 overall. I definitely graded Croatia higher more because I'm more of a hops kind of guy. So
sure,
Croatia popped to me right off the bat, and I'm just a big fan of that. This being more, I think, something that it would be your style, something that you've been drinking for a while or something similar.
Yep.
Right. So obviously we're all different. You like something, I like something different. But overall, it smells like a very good beer, and it's off to a good start.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think of the look? Very, very dark.
Yeah, I think it's like a light honey brown hue to it. I mean, light's not necessarily light, but it's not a dark brown. It's on the lighter spectrum of brown. It certainly is brown. It's kind of like a honey brown in my mind. Again, good lacing on the pour. It's an intriguing color for me. When I see the darker colors, I'm always more intrigued by them. I'm always more excited by them. I like the color. I mean, I would give the color, a 4-1.
In the light, I get a little reddish.
Like a reddish caramelish.
Caramel
sort of,
was something I was thinking of before. Caramel being a little too light, but if you want to mix, if let's say caramel and a red brick had a baby, we'd be holding it in our hands right now.
Yes, and so what would you give it?
I like the color a lot. Really, I'm going 4-3 on the color myself.
I think that's a good score. I would give it a 4-3 as well.
All right. So far we're neck and neck.
Let's go for flavor.
Yeah. Wow. Subtle in the beginning and then kind of explodes in your mouth towards the end.
There's a nice there's a nice subtle sweetness to this beer. It's very enjoyable. There's some light roasty notes here.
I think that's going back to the initial aroma when I mentioned the chocolate and you mentioned the chocolate with the little fruit at the end, and I'm getting that now.
Almost like a raisin, raspberry, chocolate style.
I'm getting raspberry,
taste.
raspberry with the chocolate a little bit. The raspberry being more pronounced than anything.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit of a tiny bit of syrupy sweetness on the way down too. Mm-hmm. Very enjoyable though.
Yeah. It's
Again,
nice.
It's one of those like beers you'll have one in a session and be like, that was a really good beer.
France putting up a fight.
France is putting up a fight. I will go with on the taste here.
Don't look at your other scores.
I'm not looking at my other scores. I will do a 4-3 on the taste.
Okay. I think this could go down to penalty kicks.
Yeah, which means we each have to down another beer.
Shit, man. I mean, I'm up there too. I mean, for not to copy you, but I mean, I'm thinking the same. 4-3. Now, mouthfeel. To me, I think this takes the cake. Personally, I mean, Belgium's left had a lot going on in there. This may be because it's, I think, new to both of us. I don't think either one of us have ever had this, and it's surprisingly good. I wasn't expecting this to be this tasty.
Very tasty. I felt like it was a little bit. I mean, the mouthfeel is great. I felt it was a little bit stronger, on the mouthfeel.
Yeah. Which I like. I enjoy that.
And but I do think it's enjoyable. I don't think it was quite as pleasant on the mouth as the Leffe. But, I mean, the difference is negligible,
It's just surprising me the way it starts and the way it finishes. It's kind of smooth in the beginning and then, pow, right in the kisser. So
what are you giving it?
I'm going with a 4-5 on this. I'm really a big fan of that. What do you think?
I'm going to go 4-3.
All right. And now... overall, what do you feel?
I don't think you can go wrong with this beer.
This is nice. This is very nice.
I think it's a 4-4 to me.
4-4. I'm gonna. You're going 4-3. I like it personally just a little bit better than the Leffe.
Overall.
So yeah.
Okay.
Slightly solid though.
Fair enough.
So I think we should break for a commercial, and we'll be right back.
Pause for that station identification.
In your mouth, that is.
Yeah. And we are back at it. Pete, how you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Can't complain. I had to take a little smoke break. Not that kind of... That was definitely not a smoke break.
No, that was not a smoke break. But we're back, and we're more excited. So it's good to go halfway through the bracket, Pete. How you feeling about this?
Pretty good. I'm liking the last group. Belgium and France put up a great battle. Croatia did its thing. Denmark not so much. It's a shame, but I'm looking forward to the rest of this battle. We got 4 beers left to see who makes it to the final 4.
Excellent. And before we get into the next set of beers, a little bit about the game going down this Saturday, which is Russia, the host nation, versus Croatia. So Russia, a year ago, there was little hope of Russia winning a game, let alone playing in the Final 8. It's a feel-good story for the home country. Russia has shocked the world with their defeat over Spain in penalties. Certainly not something I saw coming at all. Their best finish of all time was 4th place in 1966. Coming into the tournament, they were ranked something like 70th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
But the team has been galvanized. Perhaps a pet talk from Putin threatening a prolonged stint in Siberia. Who knows?
That could be it.
That could really be it. But they've given a really strong account of themselves. And
or he could have threatened the referees to make sure this worked out in their favor somehow.
Or all of the above. They got a couple of... they got 2 different guys who've scored 3 different goals. in this tournament. And they've actually impressed. They've impressed a lot. So Artem Dzyuba and Denis Cheryshev, both of Russia, both with 3 goals. Russia's really impressing right now. They beat Spain in a shocker, like I mentioned. It went into penalties. They played super defensive. But you got to wonder when is this magical run going to run out? You know, how far can it go? And they play Croatia next. So
right.
Croatia came into the tournament ranked 20th, which I think was not a good ranking. I think they're higher than that. They blazed through the group stage with near flawless victories, including the decimation of Argentina. I had them as a dark horse favorite at the start, but they were really poor versus Denmark. I was surprised about how bad they were in that game. They were taken into penalties, and then eventually they'd win. Peter Schmeichel, the goalie of Denmark, Schmeichel had phenomenal. He saved 1 penalty in regular time. He saved 2, but it wasn't enough in the penalties. But Croatia has some fantastic players. Rakitic from Barcelona, Luka Modric of Real Madrid, Mandzukic of Juventus, Perisic of Inter Milan, just to name a few. I really expect a better showing from Croatia in the next game. I expect a better account of themselves. I think they end Russia's magical run. I'm going with Croatia winning the game 2-0. Pete, what do you think is going to happen in Russia versus Croatia?
So, I don't think Russia stands a freaking chance, to be honest with you. I think they've been lucky making it this far. I don't feel like they played a lot of really good competition in the group stage.
The best team they played in the group stage was Uruguay, and they lost.
Okay. So, I feel like now, they made it through to the next round.
They did beat Spain.
They beat Spain, right. But they went to penalties.
Yes.
Correct? So anything's possible then. Think about it. It's a 50-50 chance per penalty. I think most of these goalies are just, guessing which way to dive. And, literally it's a flip of a coin every time one of these goals gets through. It's not like, playing 90-plus minutes and, you're seeing every inch of what's happening and reacting to, somebody who's 10, 12, 15, 20 yards out as opposed to this guy who's right in front of your freaking face.
Yep.
Right? So I think you were nice going 2-0 Croatia. I'm going 4-0 Croatia. 4-0. They're going to wax them. No shot.
Big.
No shot. They're done. They're going to leave them. But they're going to wish they never walked out of that freaking tunnel. It'll be 3-0 by halftime.
Okay.
And they're going to take it easy on them the rest of the way.
Bold. Rakitic.
All
right. So very interesting. Let's see what happens. Again, we will follow up. We'll see how dead on we are or how way off we are. But
you watch. Russia's going to win like 7-0 or some crazy shit.
That would be crazy. So let's move on to our beer bracket, Pete. What are you pouring for us next here?
Okay, so we mentioned Spain a couple of times. So
we did.
Did you notice I just pulled out my lighter to open this bottle?
You did. You did old school style.
Yeah, I just had a bottle opener right next to me, and my first reaction was, let me grab my lighter. That's horrible. So we're going with Estrella Damm from Barcelona.
Oh, yeah.
And so, unfortunately, none of the beers that we're about to have are still alive in the tournament.
They are not.
But that's...
Spain was one of the favorites.
Yeah.
They did not look good, particularly good at any of the games. One of the best games of the tournament, I would say at this point, the second best game, like either the second or the first, it depends, was the game against Portugal. And we matched up Spain and Portugal here for this. And that was 3-3. Cristiano Ronaldo with a hat trick. Fantastic player. The oldest player, I think he was the oldest player and the only player in the World Cup to score a hat trick against Spain. What can you say about Cristiano? I mean, the dude's he's just amazing.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's one of the best. Just watching him, me not being a big soccer fan, but being more into it this year and kind of really trying to analyze the games a little bit more as a sports fan, you kind of saw he stands out a lot more than anybody else on the field or on the pitch, right?
And technically, he's at the point where he's past his prime. He's in his 30s.
He does not look it. Yeah, what are you trying to say? I'm in my 30s. I'm not past my freaking prime. Shit.
His regimen is ridiculous. He's a great player. And shocking news, he may leave Real Madrid and go to Juventus. They were talking
Wow.
about that today. So we shall
Crazy
see.
that I have no idea what that means. But
He's changing teams.
right.
He's changing teams.
But I
There's no
figured as
trades,
much.
but think of it all as free agents kind of in the basketball world.
but no, he looked great. You know, I mean, he looked like he was trying to do too much on his own, which from what I was seeing and hearing, you know, there's really nobody else on the team. I mean, yeah, obviously you have other players on the team, but nobody could come close to him, and he was trying to take over to kind of do it on his own, which could have been their downfall. Maybe, you know, he could have let other people do what they wanted to do because he seemed to try to be taking the ball and trying to do as much as he could with it. But when you're the best player, that's kind of what you should be doing anyway.
Not a great supporting cast, but I'll say this, though. One of the top 5 goals of the tournament was from Portugal, not named Ronaldo, was Quaresma. Quaresma had a fantastic goal. I think it was the last game of the group stage. He had a really tremendous goal. So, yeah, you know, Portugal's gone and Spain is gone, but
their beer is here.
But their beer is here. Let's
It's here today, and it's going to be here
tomorrow until we drink it all. Cheers.
Okay. So first off, the aroma. What are you getting or not getting?
Oh man. There's you get a little bit of the hops.
I get a hint of spice at the end.
I was gonna say there's a little bit of faint spice that's on the nose there, right? When
Literally, it just touched my nose. Oh god.
Yeah. A little bit less lacing than the previous beers. There's not much lacing on this beer.
No, barely anything at all. It's kind of flat at the top. Very minimal head on this.
Yeah, you know how I feel about minimal head.
I know. Yeah, get rid of it. No, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, do you get like slight? I mean, this might be maybe just me, but very slightest hint of maybe coriander. Maybe I'm confusing it for another spice, but there's some type of spice that's there in the distant background.
Coriander seems to be your go-to spice. I'm getting something at the end there.
I mean, maybe not coriander, but definitely there's a pepperiness at the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a little like a hint. You know, more of a not a black pepper, which is a little bit more potent. I'm going white pepper on this, which is a little bit more faint in the background, and
you get a little bit. Do you get a little bit of yeasty notes too mixed in there? A little bit of yeastiness, a little
definitely
bit
more. I think more than anything, I think that sticks out.
Yeah, I think it's the yeast. I think it's the type of yeast they must use. Yeah, nothing bad, but nothing too exceptional when it comes to the aroma. I mean, I would say, for me, the aroma is a 3.8.
Okay. Definitely, you know, I'm feeling the yeastiness, as you said. You know, once you said it, you know, it kind of reminded me of a bakery, smelling some fresh bread and getting a little hint of that in the background. I'm going 3.6. With that, not bad at all. Just you know, I'd like to get a little bit more in the front, which I'm not getting. But moving on to appearance, very similar, I feel, to what Croatia and Denmark were offering.
Similar, yeah.
That yellowish gold hint on the side,
slightly more yellow than gold.
Yeah.
Again, you know, nothing too spectacular. Yeah, I think you nailed it. It's like a yellowish gold, but
like you ever have like anything gold, like a gold chain, but it's you haven't cleaned it in a while.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I can. Yeah, I can see that. I could certainly see that. Nothing too spectacular in the color. What you would expect from the style. I would go, you know, color 3.7.
3.7. He's going 3.7 on that. Everybody heard that? 3.7 on the color. I'm around the same spectrum, but I'm going a little lower. I'm going to go with a 3.5 on the color. You know, nothing spectacular. You know, I mean, coming off of Belgium and France, I think we got a little spoiled. So going into this,
we did, but we have to separate Belgium and France.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's why we got these guys going up against each other. So now, the moment of truth.
Flavor. I'm kicking new flavor in your ear.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
No, I was about to say the same thing, and I think those spices and the yeast comes through even more on the flavor. I think this is a far more flavor packed beer than the appearance would let on.
Yeah. Definitely shocked me right from the get. A little powerful in the beginning.
Yeah, but the flavor kind of rides nicely down.
It smooths out towards the end, hits you in the front, and it's nice to you in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely that again, that spiciness comes through. There's a nice,
They did well with this. There's a nice array of flavors in there. Definitely get that little pepperiness. More in the beginning than I do towards the end. Towards the end, a little silkier.
I agree. It's a little silkier on the end. The flavor hits you up front, as opposed to some of these beers that we've been having today, where the flavor hits you on the back end. You get most of the flavor up top. Again, the spice is hard to really pinpoint. I like what you said, like the white pepper. I get that. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a bad thing to say about this. If I want to be super critical, it's that the spiciness. I'm not so sure how balanced it is. I mean, I think this is a good beer, but compared to some of the other beers we're having, I don't think it's as balanced. And it's a little harsh to say because I think this is tasty, and I certainly would if I saw this at a bar and depending on what else was there, I would go for this.
I would drink this definitely at a bar.
I would definitely drink this at a bar, and I think this it's a bar. It's a perfect bar beer. It's got more flavor than your average bar beer does.
Right, but it's not too overpowering where it might scare people away from it.
Yes, it's not too overpowering, not too overwhelming.
This could be a good introductory craft beer to a lot of people that really are too used to drinking, those Coronas, Bud Lights, things of that nature.
Agree. I mean, if I'm going to be super critical, the only thing I would say is that I like the flavors. I like the smell. The flavor really surprised me. I think the flavor was really more pungent.
Come on, man. You got to give me a score. Stop with this pussyfooting around.
I think that this beer could have been balanced a little bit better.
Okay.
But with that said, I'll still give it a 4.
Wow. Okay. Not bad at all. I like it. Like we said, I was surprised right off the top. But no bull. I'm going off a 4-1. Definitely a strong 4-1. If I could have given this a 4.16, I would have. But that scoring that's not how we do it over here. Okay,
do it. All right.
Okay.
Mouthfeel.
So, just from taking a couple sips already. I mean, I that's why I liked it. It hit me up front, very nice, very strong. I'm a fan of that. I like to feel that kick in the face. Not like it was overpowering, but it was very surprising. Not when you look at the glass, when you look at the bottle, I don't think that's what you expect when you pour this. And personally, I'm gonna bring it up at a 4.1 as well.
Wow. And I'll go back to my earlier comment. I think if you're drinking in a bar, if you're drinking at a regular non-craft beer bar that may have other selections, this is a very good selection. It definitely has that power up front. I take a little bit of an opposite perspective from you. I like the power up front. I felt almost it was a little too much for what I was expecting.
Right.
But
I get it.
Still, though, pleasant overall. The mouthfeel, I'd give it a 3.9.
3.9. All right, not bad. So far, Spain's doing pretty good. So overall, I like it. Like I said, from everything I said before, good on the mouth. The aroma could have been a little bit better, but I like that. It's like, a lot of people like to smell the beer first, so you're like, oh, this isn't really gonna pack a punch. It's gonna
smell and taste don't line up.
No, not at all. And then all
completely.
of a sudden, it hits you, and you're like, wow, it's just a bit of a shock, and because of that, I'm gonna go with going 3.8 overall. because I just, I'm a fan.
I think 3.8's a fair score for this, and I would also agree. I'm also going to go with a 3.8. I think that, again, just to rehash, smell was all right. It was interesting, but the taste and the smell did not align. Taste was far stronger. I felt it could have been a little bit better balanced. I thought it was a little too aggressive for what it was, but all in all, still a solid beer, a beer I would definitely drink again.
Definitely not going to complain about that. Aggressive is nice in my life. Hey-o.
Hey-o. And now we're going to move on to the competitor, Portugal. Sagres Cerveja. That's what we're going with. I don't know much about this beer. I have never had this beer, so I'm always excited to have a beer I've never had.
I feel like that's for me, that's what's been going on for most of the evening. So I've had, I think, one or two of these before, but most of these are brand new to me. In the beginning of my beer drinking life, wasn't really keen on drinking something I didn't have before, but this is interesting.
Yeah, out of the 6 beers, I guess this will be the 6th, the Portuguese beer. I've had 3 of the 6 previously.
Okay. So, okay.
Founded in 1940, the brewery. Portuguese beer, as Pete tells me. Pete picked this up. Shout out to him.
Thank you.
And
a lot of driving to get these beers, guys. This is a lot of work. Even though I didn't realize that I didn't have to do as much driving because there was a beer store that was much closer that actually carried it, but they didn't like to post their stuff on beer menus.
Boo.
Bastards.
So this is another Pilsner, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Here you go. That's
Excited.
for you.
Never had this Pilsner. Never had a Portuguese Pilsner, so.
I was surprised. I thought Portugal is going to be harder to find. So just for a little backstory, so we were kind of trying to attack beers that we thought might be harder to find in the beginning. We were looking to do a round of 16 show, but it turns out it was a little tougher to find some of these beers than we thought it would be. So we ended up scrapping that idea, and we're going to go to a round of 8. And also, if we did a round of 16, we would be very shitty before this was over. So better idea.
We're going to get shitty either way.
Better move. Let's do it. So,
all right, let's do it. Let's
put that sucker in your nose and let me know what you think.
I got a little bit of a bready maltness.
I get it, but a little more faint than I did with the Estrella. Now with it in my mind, I get that yeastiness. But nothing else really. I don't really get many other flavors. I don't get other aromas. No spices in there.
No, I do. Do you get the little bit of bready?
I got it right away. Right away. That was the one thing that stuck out. But it's not.
It's not overly impressive. There's something else there I can't put my nose on.
Yeah.
I get the bready yeastiness. There's There's almost like a. This is gonna sound weird, but there's almost like a milkiness on the smell in the background. Right?
I get it. A slight hint. More of the yeast. More of that is coming through at the moment, but not much else really. I'm hoping that it's going to have a similar outcome to the Estrella, where it's going to shock us later on. But just going on smell alone, personally, I'm going to go lower. I'm going to go 3.2 on that. And what are you feeling over here?
3.5.
3.5. Okay. All right. Now, just on the look,
it's again, it's kind of piss yellow.
Yeah.
I would say there's nothing overly attractive about it. This is just a kind of look. It's got that commercial beer look.
Yep.
Nothing
Budweiser-esque.
Budweiser-esque. Nothing too spectacular. Decent lacing. Not too much.
I think more than the Estrella had. The Estrella really barely had anything on the top.
Yeah, I mean, as far as appearance, I guess I would give it. I would give it a 3.7.
All right, I'm gonna go 3.5 on that one myself. Similar score I gave to the Spain beer Estrella from Barcelona. But now, for me, the most important part is we gotta taste this sucker. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Wow.
There's a creaminess there.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, hey, there's a creaminess, there's a creamy mouthfeel. This again surprised me, but you know what? That hint of milkiness on the smell
comes through on the taste.
That comes through on the taste. It's there. There's a pleasant creaminess that is it makes this a unique beer for its style.
Yeah, I'm getting that as well. More now than I did the yeast on the aroma. So props to you for catching that, and negative props to me and my smoking style and not being able to really get it.
And you do get a little bit of breadiness in the yeast on the swallow. Mm-hmm. You get it there too. Honestly,
it's a pleasant beer.
It's a pleasant beer, and the aroma and appearance didn't do it many favors, but the flavor
it's coming through a lot nicer than I expected. I personally, I think the Estrella had an edge, but this was shockingly better than I thought it was going to be after we smelled and looked at it. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a 3.9 myself. It tastes nice, something I would see myself drinking again. I don't think we would be finding Sagres Cerveja anywhere else besides your, beer distributor that might be carrying a different array of beers in different countries. So if I ever run into you again, my friends, I would gladly drink you, and you're going to like it. I guarantee it. So what are you thinking for the flavor?
I like that 3.9 score.
Yeah?
I when I looked at it and I smelled it, I was like, okay, this may not be a big one, but that nice that subtleness on the smell really came through for the flavor, and I really respect the way it came together. So yeah, I think that's a fair
right.
score. I like this. Again, it's not a beer that I think you could necessarily session all day, but It is a beer if I saw again, I would try it. I would definitely try it. It's because of the creaminess, it doesn't make it like an all-purpose beer like some of the other beers we've had, but I would go for it again.
Tad bit heavier towards the end from what I've been tasting from the lighter side of the brackets. Mouthfeel for me, I'm getting the creaminess that you spoke of. I'm getting a little bit higher carbonation than I am for most, similar to what Croatia had to offer with that, which it was okay. I liked it. You get a nice array of flavors hit you in a few seconds of tasting the beer. I think Spain did a better job all around. But not bad, and I'm going to go with the 3.8 for that one.
You're talking about
mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel?
Sorry, you're too busy on social media over there posting
I'm social media.
Yeah, that's what he does all day, every day. Where can you find this?
At Beer Today, Beer Tomorrow on Instagram, Beer Today, Beer Tomorrow on Facebook, and Beer Today, Beer Tomorrow on Twitter.
All right. So back to mouthfeel. How's that feel in your mouth? You haven't heard that one in a while, have you?
That's usually a question I ask. But I think it's... again, it's in the mouth. It's velvety. There's a velvety silkiness to it. It's a bit different than any of the other beers that we've had. So just kind of based on what we're drinking today, that stands out to me because it was different.
Yeah.
Not necessarily... It's a little hard to describe because it's not necessarily better because it's different, but it's different, which makes it unique, which stands out to my mind.
Okay.
I'm gonna go mouthfeel. I'm gonna go. Hang on. Let me try one more
time. One more time.
3.9.
3.9. All right. Now, overall, what do you think?
Overall, I think this is a 3.8 overall to me. Yeah, not impressive color, not too impressive smell, although...
Again, another one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The aroma, it's impressive when you taste it.
Yes.
It's not impressive when you smell it by itself, because the fact that they put it together, I enjoyed it, but it's not a fantastic beer, but it's certainly a beer I would drink again. It's certainly a beer I would recommend people to try. And I never had it before, which is cool. But
if we were only to go off of the first two, just by look and by smell, I think we may decide to not drink the beer, which would have been an epic mistake. I think it was more pleasant than we expected, with little hints of things that you wouldn't expect just from the first two, just from the look and just from the aroma.
Sometimes they really just got to put it in their mouth to enjoy it.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why people don't think this way.
Yeah.
You got to use all your senses. Yeah, you can look at stuff, you can smell it.
Yeah.
Right? But the second you taste it,
changes everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Game changer. Hashtag game changer.
Hashtag sprung.
So on that note,
I'm
going to second that notion. I'm going to 3.8 that up.
Perfect. And I think now we're going to pause for a
station identification.
We're going to pawn off our merchandise to you and hope you buy it. And we'll be back with the rest of our round of 8 World Cup analysis and our final 2 beers in the bracket that are going against each other. And then we're going to tally up the scores and let you know who made it to the next round. Yay, yay!
See ya.
I couldn't hold it anymore. And we are back. Extended show today. World Cup fever, full effect. And the last teams going at each other that we need to talk about in the 2018 World Cup is Sweden versus England. Now, ranked 24th in the world coming into the tournament, Sweden has made the quarterfinals for the first time since 1994. They missed the previous 2 World Cups, and they didn't have Zlatan Ibrahimovic this go-around, yet they beat the Netherlands in qualifying, and they won a playoff against Italy, which was kind of a shock, and they knocked them out. And you know what? No one expected them to get out of the group stage, and although they lost to Germany off a dramatic free kick and stoppage time by my man Toni Kroos, they did make it out. And not only did they make it out, they beat Mexico's ass pretty hard, and they won the group, and they avoided Brazil, and they went to the quote-unquote easy side of the bracket and were slight underdogs versus Switzerland, but they handled their business. And right now, this is a team that's brimming with confidence, and I emphasize team here because it's a collection of individuals who are truly playing and functioning as a team. There's no superstars here. There's no big household names. It's just a bunch of guys committed to pushing forward, committed to the vision, and they're playing well, and they're a tough team for any team in the world to play right now. And the team that has to play them is England. England won the Cup in 1966. It's the only time they ever won it. They beat West Germany 4-2 in the final. They came into the tournament ranked 12th in the world. They're fielding many young household names from the English Premier League. Their manager, Gareth Southgate, hoped to rejuvenate the side. The media in England can be quite brutal, and the English national team has underperformed historically throughout the recent years, but they came to the tournament into a favorable group. They came with a fresh perspective. In the group stage, only Belgium was really serious competition, and by the time those two teams played each other, they had already advanced. So the game was somewhat meaningless, although England's loss again put them in the so-called weaker bracket, meaning they'd avoid powerhouses like Brazil and France, at least until the final, if indeed they make it that far. Now, they just narrowly avoided being the record holder of most World Cup penalty losses in World Cup history by beating Colombia in a nervy and hotly contested matchup. Next up for them is Sweden, and I'll say this, England is one of my favorite teams. I always, I'm a Germany guy through in, throughout, but I like a couple of other teams. England is definitely one of them. England and Belgium, I like those teams quite a bit. I love the Premier League. I'm a massive Chelsea fan, as you know, Pete. Chelsea all day. All day. And I think England is poised for a massive run to the final here. Their defense has been a bit shaky at times, but they can and should beat Sweden. It's not going to be easy, but I think they'll beat Sweden, and then I favor them against either Croatia or Russia. And then from there, who knows? In the final, anything can happen. But before we get ahead of ourselves, my pick is England. I pick England to beat Sweden 2-0, and I expect more goals from Harry Kane, the Tottenham superstar. I don't think he's done yet. He's the leading goal scorer in the World Cup right now. I believe he's at 6 goals currently, and I think that England waxes that Swedish ass and goes on to the Final Four. Pete, what's your take? What's your pick? Sweden, England.
All right, so I kind of like what I've seen from both of them. I think they both have potential. think they could do a lot of damage if they're playing at the top of their game because, anything could happen any day of the week. So I'm actually going for England again. I spoke about England earlier, that they were one of my favorites along with Belgium. And I think we're going to see a very tight game. And I think it's going to go to penalties. And I have another tie with penalties. I'm going 2-2 with England winning 4-3 with penalties.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Penalties have always been the weak spot of England, and the fact that they went to penalties today and won was pretty impressive. And I either way, I like that you're picking England. I hope England wins. I'm a big fan of England. England, obviously, their league is the Premier League. Again, like I said, that's my favorite league. 108 players from the Premier League were in the World Cup, 16 of which were from Man City. Boo. Which is an impressive thing to say. And obviously, like most of the entire England squad, top to bottom, is in the Premier League too.
Yeah, I mean, they looked really good to me throughout the tournament so far. It looks like they've got one of the better players in the tournament.
Yeah, Harry Kane from Tottenham. I'm not a big fan of him when he's in the Premier League, but he is a great player. He's just a natural gifted goal scorer. He actually, when he was a little kid, wanted to be a goalkeeper.
Really?
Yeah, he wanted to be a goalkeeper. Good thing that for England that the coach
he chose otherwise.
Yeah, the coach was like, you shouldn't be a goalkeeper. But he's just a gifted goal scorer. He knows how to score goals. He's been scoring penalties left and right too this tournament. He's not done yet. He's definitely going to score more. If England wants to move on, he definitely needs to score more. I like his partnership up front with the two forwards. I like the way England plays. I think they're a little shaky in the defense at times, but I like their odds to get to the final.
All right. Well, on that note, we're introducing Old Speckled Hen, one of England's finest. It's a refreshing ale, but before we get into details about flavors, let's take a whiff.
On the aroma, you get a little bit of bready malts.
Yeah.
You get almost like a hint like these were aged in like rum barrels or something. I don't think that's the case, but I get
what you're saying.
To that,
I get what you're saying. If you ever finish the bottle of rum you're talking dark rum. Get a dark rum and sniff that bottle towards the end. I get that as well.
And
I
you
get
get
a lot of maltiness in here.
Right. Like you get a little bit of a hint of licorice.
Yeah. Towards the end. I'm a fan so far. Nothing overpowering, nothing really more balanced than anything with the aromas. Nothing really popping out to me personally. But
I'll go 4.0.
4.0 on the aroma, okay, and I'm right behind you with a 3.9 on the aroma. Good start.
Maybe I'm a little optimistic because I enjoy English football so much.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. Anyway, how about I like the color a lot.
I like the color too. It's like an amber.
To me, this has a little bit more of that dark caramel color with the amber mixed in.
It does, and
it's a pretty looking beer.
It is,
honestly.
It is, and to set the stage, you're like, we're in your apartment. The sun is setting here. The backdrop of the light between the sun setting and the beer. It's very nice. There's a nice reddish amber hue to it. Caramel, as you said. It's a pretty looking beer. Like I'm almost lost staring at it. I enjoy the way this beer looks. I'm going to give it a 4.2.
Nice. Good score. There was a lot of options when it came to England. I almost went with an ESB, but I wanted to switch it up a little bit. I've been a fan of this beer for a long time. Well, this is one of two beers that I've actually had before. It can't skew me though because it's been a very long time since I've had it. So, I'm being reintroduced to this beer for the first time in probably about 10, almost 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But I'm loving the color, and I'm going to actually second your notion. I'm going 4-2 as well on that one.
All right.
So now, the moment of truth.
Good start for the Lions,
Yeah,
huh?
so far. Let's get a little taste.
Flavor.
Man.
I get a malted roastiness, a little bit of it's a bit of a pleasant burntness. There's a hint of like a toffee
Yeah.
burntness to this beer, but not in an unpleasant way. In a pleasant way for what's that worth.
The maltiness sticks out to me. The burntness I'm getting towards the back, as if they were in the process of making it and let it sit a little too long in the kettle, and it got a little extra roastiness in there, and I feel that at the back end of this. I like it a lot.
On a second sip, I'm also getting, in addition to the toffee, similar, I'm getting caramel as well.
Yeah, yeah, that sweetness. A little bit of that. I like it. So, I'm surprised. Like I said, it's been a while since I've had it. But,
Same here.
Very pleasant. After years of mixing in lots of different craft beers and now coming back to something like this, it's holding up well against most of the competition from the day, and honestly from things I've just had in the recent past. So I'm actually going to go with a 4-1 just on the taste alone. And what are you feeling on this?
Yeah, when I first started getting into different types of beers, obviously the first beers I was introduced to was Germany and Belgium. Spoke about that many times on the show. Mm-hmm. But beyond German and Belgian beers, some of the first beers were English beers, and one of the English beers was Old Speckled Hen. So it's got a soft spot, in my beer drinking career, so to speak. But I think this, like you said, I think you nailed it. I think this still holds up, and I think it holds up pretty well. And I think a 4-1 is a fair score for the flavor.
So far, so good. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I remembered in the past. Those were more my rookie beer drinking days, where this may have been a little bit more overpowering than what I was used to drinking, and maybe a little more shocking than I was used to. But this is still holding its own. So to go to the mouthfeel,
You get a roastiness on the mouthfeel. There's definitely a roastiness. The longer you hold it in your mouth, hints of spice in the background come through.
And I'm getting the yeast towards the end. It's kind of pushing through a little more than I would expect with the different flavors that are kind of hitting you in the beginning. You wouldn't expect the yeast to really show up like it is doing.
Yeah.
But it's a nice turnaround, and it kind of smooths it out. With a slight hint of the creaminess that you spoke of earlier.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of creaminess there in the background.
Mm-hmm. It ends nice smooth finish. Doesn't have that bite like some of these other ones that we've had, which wasn't a bad thing at all. This has it more, I think, in the beginning, in the front end. You get it. You get that hit to the tongue, to the lips. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just give it a flat 4. Just for the mouthfeel alone.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I think a 4 is right on point for this.
Okay.
And then going for overall for me, 4-1.
Okay.
Pleasant beer, and you want to separate experience and nostalgia, but honestly, when you're drinking good beers, experience and nostalgia is a big part of it.
Right.
And because this beer has played a part in my beer adventers and formulating my opinions on beer, that's why I'm going with that score. I enjoy the beer.
So for me, similar to what you're saying, it's it brings me back to a time when I really got to know not just craft beer, but just beer in general. We were used to drinking certain types of lighter, flavorless types, and I told you a story earlier. At my old job back in the day, they accidentally were delivered a few cases of Old Speckled Hen, and they couldn't hold on to it because we couldn't sell it, so they wanted to throw it away, and I asked if I can take it home with me, not even having a clue what it might taste like, just knowing that it was beer and it was something different, and I was just starting out on my beer adventures. And I was shocked back then, and I'm shocked now. And it still holds up well, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to second your 4.1. I was going to go a flat 4, but I felt like it deserved a little bit higher of a grade.
Put some respect on it.
Oh, there's speckle. Real speckle. Oh.
Respeckled Hen. Okay. So, as we mentioned, we didn't drop a show last week. We're doing the extended show right now. The full show is already at 1 hour and 30, and we're putting that work in.
Always, all day, every day.
And we got one final beer to go. And Pete, while you pour that, I'm going to give you some interesting random notes about the World Cup.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Let's go.
So, an octopus that correctly predicted all of Japan's World Cup results has recently been killed and sent to the dinner table. Rabio, a giant Pacific octopus from Hokkaido, was gutted, cleaned, and sent off to the market ahead of a match against Belgium, South China Morning Post reports. Local fisherman Kimio Abe, Rabio's owner, told Japan's Mainichi that he was happy Rabio correctly predicted all 3 of Japan's group matches, but he thought he'd make more money selling Rabio for food than from his sixth sense.
Wow.
R.I.P. Rabio.
Yo, rest in peace. I wonder how much that would cost at the dinner table.
I would eat some fucking octopus right now. Another interesting note, a little bit more serious, and this is kind of crazy. When I read this, the major media outlets didn't pick this up, at least from what I've seen. But Nigeria captain and former Chelsea player Mikel John Obi has revealed he was told his father, Pa Michael Obi, had been kidnapped hours before he played for the Super Eagles against Argentina on June 26th. The 2-1 defeat proved to be Nigeria's final game at the 2018 World Cup. Mikel explained that he had other matters on his mind. His father, who was subsequently been released, was being held for ransom and being threatened with death. Pa Michael Obi was abducted in southeast Nigeria while on his way to a funeral, and he was treated subsequently in a hospital after being tortured during his week-long capture. He was also kidnapped once before in 2011.
Wow.
AFP Africa reported the former Chelsea player paid 10 million naira or 21,000 euros to secure his father's release. So, a couple of comments on that. One, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Right.
That's horrible.
Right.
Why would they do that? Two, kidnapped twice?
That's
like,
crazy.
What the fuck?
First of all, what are the chances you get kidnapped once?
Kidnapped twice?
2 times.
That's crazy. And then third, sorry, it just my headphone just fell out. I'll edit that out.
Edit.
And third, 21,000 euros. This guy played for Chelsea. He was making millions of dollars.
And that's all they got for
What
him?
are the kidnappers thinking? What are you fucking thinking?
You can tell they're probably meth heads. They just want to get by.
Yeah.
They need some.
They were like
something
21,000 euros. That's what, probably 30K?
done.
I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got to
But, like,
kidnap
come on,
someone to
man.
get 30K, but I
If
mean,
I'm
he played for
kidnapping
Chelsea.
somebody, I'm asking for millions. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, not like
seriously.
I'm planning on doing that. But
No.
I mean, just, in case it ever happens. If that ever comes up, what the hell?
Yeah, but I mean, if they were like, I'm not
gotta
going
go
to
for broke.
I'm not going to give you $1 million. I'll give you 30. I mean, you would probably be like, all right, I'll take 30. I'm gonna take 30K.
So, that's just insane, and I don't know what the hell is going on in this world now. I mean, if we look around on a daily basis at things that are happening, we're seeing some random craziness that's happening
Yeah.
everywhere in the world, in New York City and,
Sure.
everywhere else. So people are out of their minds, so just be careful out there because people are losing their shit.
For
But
real.
you know what? We do what we do to get by every day, and one thing that helps us is drinking some good-ass beer.
And now we are, speaking of that, we're moving on to the final beer, final bracket, extended show, our own BTBT round of 8. We gave you our predictions for the World Cup, and we're going through our own personal beer brackets. And now, Pete, what can you tell us about this final beer of the evening?
So, just because it was hosted by Mother Russia, We are going to finish off drinking a Russian Imperial Stout from the Baltica Brew Collection in Russia. This took some hard work to find. For those that don't know, we did some legwork. We drove around some few places. For us, out in Long Island and going deep into Queens, and because Queens is such an eclectic area and we have so many different types of nationalities around, it really made it easier for us to get our hands on a lot of these beers. And if we had more time, we could have gotten a hand on pretty much all 16, I believe, if we really, all put our effort in and just focused on this nonstop. But, just like you guys out there, we all have jobs and we have lives. And, this was what we ended up with. And honestly, I think we put together a pretty nice, solid group of good beer. And
agree.
On that note, I mean,
and we're ending in a big way too.
Yeah, so going back to Old Speckled Hen, this bad boy was tasty.
Very.
But she's only hitting you with 5%, right? And now obviously we're looking at a Russian Imperial Stout, so this bad boy's double digits.
Well, going back to the Speckled Hen, if I would have drank that without knowing the ABV, I would have said it was a bit more because of the flavor and how it felt and how it looked. I wouldn't have guessed 5.
It's a bit more sessionable than you'd expect. Getting that from the beginning,
a lot of flavor and a lot of energy into 5%.
Yeah, it was very nice, well put together beer. But now personally, when we put this matchup together, I felt like it may have been a little unbalanced.
Possibly, but we'll find out right now.
Exactly.
Okay,
so let's
get right into it.
Cut the crap. Let's go. Oh.
Aroma.
Cheers.
Do svidania.
So definitely malty.
Malt.
Chocolatey.
Dark chocolate. Roasted coffee.
Yeah. I get a lot more of the chocolate. Like heavy in the front. Very heavy in the front. The maltiness is there.
Yeah, the dark chocolate definitely comes through. I do get a little bit of roasted coffee as well.
I haven't gotten the coffee yet.
I get it on the back end.
I think I may get it more on the taste. But for me, I
get like a syrupy sweetness on the smell too.
Oh man. So
4-4 for me.
4-4. I was thinking 4-3 on my end. Good start, very good start. I kind of feel bad for England so far. But it ain't over till it's over, right?
Absolutely.
It can go down to the 90th minute. We can go to stoppage time and see what happens with this bad boy.
Oh, you don't know?
Oh, you better ask somebody. So, the appearance on this. You're talking very dark. This is definitely something you can't see through. There's no light behind this. You can put it up to the brightest light you can find. You're not going to see anything through this. Very dark, very chocolatey looking.
Yeah, there's almost like a reddish hue
towards the back end.
You
can see it. You can see it on the bottom a little bit. Yeah, that like a little brick red, red, dark, nice.
At the back end, it's a dark looking brew. I would give the color about a 4.2.
I like the color a lot as well. I'm gonna go same as you. Just very. I just like the darkness in it. Not.
Good song, by the way.
Thank
in the background.
Thank you very much.
So, what are you giving it?
I'm going 4.2. We're both gonna give it the same score. I like it, but like I said, we always got to taste this just to really determine what's happening. So
flavor.
Man, that's nice.
Yeah. Again, velvety, syrupy.
Yes.
There's a thickness to it, when you're swallowing it.
Ayo.
Definitely get the dark chocolate, roasted notes.
Yes.
I get a little bit of coffee too.
Now I'm getting it. I wasn't getting it in the smell, but now, so the chocolate's hitting me in the beginning. That roast, and then the roasted coffee is easing its way in towards the back end, and now it's more pronounced at the last second.
Agree, and I get a little bit of like a hint of light maple syrup as well.
You know what? You're 100% right. That's what the sweetness is. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is.
This is a big boy.
Yeah.
But I've been looking at the ABV. I mean, you hear Russian Imperial style, you know
it's going to be heavy.
Just tasting it, this is a big.
But I mean,
big boy.
this like you said, that sweetness, getting maple syrup. Like honestly, like if I close my eyes when I take a sip, I'm thinking of a chocolatey pancake.
Yeah.
With some nice syrup poured all over that
heavy.
Bad boy.
It's a heavy boy right here. So now, what do you give it on that flavor? What are you thinking on the spectrum right here?
Damn, I'm going 4.4 on Flavor Flav. I'm liking this a lot.
4.3 for me.
4.3. Okay. Damn, that is nice. That is really nice.
That's heavy,
but shocking. Like
tasty though.
Yeah, definitely. So, mouthfeel. You know what? I don't get a lot. It's not overpowering. It's smoother than you would expect from something that's going to be 10%. So it's, let's give it another whirl in the mouth, right? So I get a little bit in the front, little kick in the back.
I get a lot of booziness on the mouth.
Yes.
A lot of booziness, some of that maple syrup sweetness,
Yeah.
a little bit of the other flavors we discussed, but on the mouthfeel, it's very boozy.
It just, to me, it could last longer, but it actually kind of slows down at the end and eases up on you. Less than I would expect from 10%.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 10% is going to be an aggressive beer, but the mouthfeel doesn't necessarily align with the smell and the and the flavor so far. I think this is a good beer, but so far the mouthfeel has been the least attractive aspect for me. It's very boozy on the mouth.
You know what? It reminds me of the first time you take a sip of a barley wine. You get that real heavy alcohol hit in the front. If it's made right, if the barley wine is made right, obviously if anything is made right, it's going to have a certain kick to it. But
you know what? The flavor is barley wine-esque.
Yes.
It is.
Right? You get it in the front, heavy, and it's kind of just chilling out all the way down the rest of the way. It's not really overpowering you the whole way down, which I like. I like that a lot. You know I'm a big barley wine fan.
Well, yeah.
Correct? So for that, I'm liking it, but I'm going 4-1 for me.
Mouthfeel for me is a 3.9.
3.9. Hey yo.
Yeah. It's
okay.
Just, maybe it's because of the assortment and the allotment of how the bracket broke out, but I feel like I hate to say this, but it's almost like offensively. It's borderline offensively boozy.
Yeah, unnecessary. It doesn't need to be like that.
It didn't. Yeah, they could have pulled back a little.
They could have brought up the chocolate more, and then kind of killed that just a tad bit. Probably wouldn't have been a 10%er.
Right.
But I feel like I've had stouts before that weren't as overpowering on the mouth.
Well,
that were still as high.
Russian Imperial stouts, that they are going to be a bit on the overpowering side.
So what are you feeling overall? What do you think?
That's I got to think about this one because honestly, I'm teetering on my score.
Yeah, I can see it in your face.
I'm kind of.
I don't know if it's all the alcohol we've drank so far or it's just this.
I'm going to give it a little bit more of an optimistic score.
Okay.
I'll give it a 4.
Okay. I'm going 4-1.
Okay.
All right. Going 4-1 overall.
So now we have officially
completed
this bracket. Do we want to take a quick commercial break to bring back the scores? Or do you have those ready?
We'll be back.
We'll be
right
back
after these messages.
Yo.
Motherfuckers. Yeah, no, I haven't had a chance to add. We're going to break it down.
Hey, it's Beer Today, Beer Tomorrow. We are back wrapping up this special edition show, like we said. We took off last week. We got an extra double dose of dopeness for you guys this week. Hope you guys hung in there. Hope you guys are enjoying what we were talking about. Hit us up. Send us an email, beertodaybeertomorrow@gmail.com. Hit us up on Instagram, beertodaybeertomorrow, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Let us know what you thought about the episode. You just want to shoot the shit, send us some comments, feedback, whatever it is, let us know. But right now, Pete's about to drop some knowledge about how this BTBT beer cup bracket broke down. Pete, take it away.
All right, so we had some good competition throughout this. We had some guys that stood out a lot. Some countries really brought it. Some not so much. One in particular, which I'm not going to get into the second, but we're going to get into that. So looks like Croatia, who collectively between me and Pete brought home a score of 7.18, which dominated Denmark. Denmark tried its hardest, but unfortunately did not make it to the next round, bringing home a score of 6.16.
Right.
So Croatia is now moving on to the next rounds. Next up, we had Belgium versus France. This was one of the tightest, probably the tightest competitions of the entire event. Belgium and France really brought their game. Belgium put up a score of 8.54. Sweet. Great score. Next up was France, bring home a score of 8.58.
Wow.
France just squeaks by, going to the next round to face Croatia. And the other bracket, we have Spain versus Portugal. Another good matchup. Great battle here. Portugal with a 7-point score collectively from us. But Spain came through with a 7.66, squeaking by. Moving on to the next round. And finally, England versus Russia. Epic battle here. Old Speckled Hen did its best with an 8.14, but the Imperial Stout from Russia came through at 8.38, putting up the third highest score and moving on to face Portugal in the next round. I'm sorry, Spain in the next round.
So what's the bracket for the next round?
So on the left side, we're going Spain versus Russia. On the right side, Croatia versus France.
And there you have it. So you got our picks for the FIFA World Cup 2018 round of 8. You got our picks for what's going down here for our Beer World Cup, and we will be back. We'll be back soon. Hope you enjoy this episode. Hope you guys enjoy July 4th, special July 4th edition episode of this shit right here. Yeah, man. Happy July 4th, Pete. Anything else to say?
Guys, just be careful out there. It's going to be a crazy holiday. Don't drink and drive, and if you do, don't let the cops stop you.
Hi-yo.
See ya.